Hey, it is time for a very quick Tiki Technical Tuesday. Why is it quick? Well, because I'm kind of running out of time. Tiki Oasis is right around the corner. I'm very excited about it. We're going, I'm not vending or anything like that, but I am putting a lamp into the lamp show. It's a show that I completely forgot about until I got a reminder email saying, hey, we can't wait to get the lamp you're submitting. And I realized that I had completely forgotten about it. Now, I have been thinking about it nonstop for the past month, and I have been suffering from a little bit of perfection paralysis, meaning I am so fixated on maybe this is the way to do it, maybe I should do it this way, maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll do this, that I have been too afraid to actually start. And we're getting that, we're just gonna break that cycle, and we are going to adopt that wonderful mantra, done is best, which my old boss Howard Berger used to say all the time at KMB Effects Group. It's a nice mantra to have. I selected this beautiful board. It is Jatoba, I don't know if I'm saying that right, also known as Brazilian cherry, and we're going to cut this up and make a lamp out of it. Before any wood was cut, of course, we needed a design, and I was going to make this lamp based on our Christmas ornament that we did several years ago. Now, to do this, I had to take the original Christmas ornament designs in Adobe Illustrator and scale them up. That was done with a laser, but the new design I planned to cut out of a much thicker wood using our handheld CNC router called the Shaper Origin. Once I had the design in place, I had to export a special set of files that the Shaper Origin can read and translate into an actual wooden cut. Now that we were done with all the computer work, it was time to cut some actual wood. I very carefully cut down the large board into smaller sections that I could use for making the face, back, side panels, and all the other panels I needed. And I carefully marked down the dimensions on each one so I wouldn't get them confused while I was laying all the parts out. All right, I got my wood marked up, and we are going to use that Space Age tool, the Shaper Origin. The Shaper requires everything to be on a level playing field, and I've got to use that special shaper tape. Well, let me just say that I need to set up an area where I'm not going to worry about the router bit kind of going through the material, and I don't want to carve up my wood here. So I've got this piece of plywood that's going to be, I'm going to stick this down on my workbench, and then this extra board that I have will be kind of what I call the control board. So I'm going to stick that down. I'm going to put all the shaper tape onto this, and then all of my pieces that I'm cutting, I'm going to be putting in here, and I'll be able to cut them right here. I think this will be a nice workspace setup, and I'm going to stick it all down with that handy dandy stuff, which I got to go find somewhere over here, and I found it. Double-sided tape. This is used for, I think, I don't know, like hockey pucks or something. It's like a sports tape, but it's great stuff. It's expensive, but it's great. Here we go. Again, the whole goal with this tape setup on top of the plywood is to get the wood that I'm cutting at the exact same level and to make sure that it doesn't move around at all when I'm using the Shaper Origin tool. All right, well, now that we've got our secure little work area, it's time to use the dominoes. Dominoes are what these little stickers are called. It's what the electronic eye on the Shaper is looking for, and it's how the Shaper knows where it is on the board that you are cutting. So I'm gonna stick these fellows down carefully. You don't wanna stretch them while you stick them on. There's a whole discussion on the best way to use dominoes. And dominoes, I don't want to waste them, so I'm going to carefully cut them and stick on a good number of runs. The Shaper can only see a full domino. If the domino is cut in half or a little bit of the domino is cut off, it will not count it. So I'm really careful when I cut the tape to not cut a domino in half, or else that domino was wasted. All right, we've got our dominoes down. Now, the dominoes work just like the ancient Polynesians navigating by the stars. That's exactly what these dominoes are. These dominoes are stars, and the camera on the Shaper is going to look at these things, and it will know exactly where it is by plotting the way these stars move around. These are a fixed point. The domino knows that, so it can tell when you're moving it, how far away it is, how close it is to this star field that we've just laid down. I think that's pretty cool when you think about it. All right, it's time to actually take out the shaper tool itself. As you can see, once I power it up, the first thing I do is scan in that star field of domino tape so that the shaper knows where it is on my workbench. Once I've done that, I place the first file that we want to cut, and in this case, we're going to cut the largest piece first, which is the back of the lamp. Here is where the magic of the shaper happens. I'm going to travel around looking at the view screen and just follow the outside edge of the part that I want to cut. Now, of course, I'm human, so I'm doing a rough cut, but the machine is a machine, and it's doing a perfect cut, matching the outline exactly. Oh my goodness! First cut, and I've already kind of messed it up. What happened? Well, the board shifted while I was cutting it. This has never really been a problem before using this tape, but I think the fault is this crazy plywood. It's this kind of cheap plywood that I'm using, and it's got this kind of plastic finish on it. I don't think the tape is getting a good grip on it, and the thing moved. Now, is everything lost? No, it's not. The good thing is the cut line went outside. It didn't cut inside, so I think that I can redo this base and then reattach this and recut this piece with no problems, which I'm really grateful for because I have exactly the amount of wood that I need, which I know is really asking for trouble to only buy the amount of wood I needed, but it was not inexpensive wood, and I want to do a test this weekend. If it works out well, I'll try to make another lamp, and I'll go buy another board on Monday. Of course, the wood place is closed on the weekends. I'm rambling. I'm a little flustered. I can't believe this messed up. Let's rebuild this top thing. I did have some rough plywood in the back of the studio that I was able to use to remake a different tabletop, and I can tell you that this is what I should have used all along. The tape really grabbed onto it, and it just made a much sturdier work surface for the shaper. Of course, since we've moved everything, we need to rescan this work surface so that the shaper knows where it is when we're cutting the new pieces of wood. So I can't line this thing up exactly like it was before, which means I don't have enough wood to cut the whole lamp this weekend. And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. Store is open tomorrow. I can get more wood tomorrow. So I'm just going to try to regroup and cut the other parts because I have all of these parts that I can cut. So we will do that, and we will save the back for last. Now I'm like, why did I cut the biggest piece first? I mean, it was the most simple piece of all the pieces, but it's also the biggest piece. Oh, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. I decided to try to cut the face next, and I'm happy to report that the tape really stuck down to the rough plywood like it should have from the get-go, and the part seemed to come out really nicely. Okay, after this morning's rough start, I think that we actually have part number one. I'm very excited about it. I tried to maintain focus throughout that entire process, and I think that we have got a very beautiful looking piece. If I can just pry it off of the board. Come on, buddy. I'm not going to complain about sticking it down too well after the disaster of this morning. Oh, we have got a face. We have got a lamp face. It's happening. All right. I like the size. I like the scale. It's going to be cool. My idea is it's going to be illuminated, and then it's going to have an uplight. So you could put this under a painting or something like that, and it might shine up, might look cool. I don't know. But we've got some more parts to cut. Next up, I cut the forehead and the nose piece, and both went smoothly. All right, I've got a handful of parts cut. Are you ready for this? Oh my gosh. Oh, this made me so happy. Wait. It's gonna be awesome! Okay, so today it's Sunday afternoon. I'm just gonna cut two more pieces. They are the most complicated pieces, so let's all collectively cross our fingers. I'm gonna cut the side panels for this lamp, and then I think that we will call it for the day. Oh, yeah. Why did the side panels freak me out? Well, it's a complicated shape with complicated openings in them, and they also had this really kind of intricate carved pattern over the surface that didn't go all the way through the wood. So basically just a lot of opportunities for me to make a mistake if I wasn't paying attention. Guess we just went to the lumber store. I've got new lumber. Hopefully I've got plenty. In fact, I know I've got plenty because I bought twice as much as I should need. We're ready to make the final piece. Did I get enough wood to possibly do a second lamp? Yes, I did, because I have learned so much making this first one. I have a ton of ideas and things I want to try already on version 2. All right, it is 6:50 a.m. on a Tuesday, a Tiki Technical Tuesday. Today we are releasing the episode all about glazing that final pure post bob. I poured slip a little while ago, and while the slip dwells, I am getting into this lamp. I am feeling that calendar date, the Tiki Oasis, is approaching at a rapid rate, and I really want to get one of these put together. I did get enough wood to do 2, possibly 3, but I definitely need to get at least one of them done. To cut the outside edges of these parts, it takes several passes with the shaper to make it all the way through the depth of the wood. And I can tell you, my mind does sometimes wander, and I think of other things while I'm doing it. And I also tend to second guess what I'm doing on the project while cutting these parts. Oh man, I've put tons of time into cutting these side panels. And after Denise told me a neat idea that she had, I think we're going to use her excellent idea and redo the side panels. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I haven't decided yet, but I might recut these. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe these will work for lamp 1 and we'll do lamp 2 differently. I don't know. We'll see. I think I got to explore this new idea. I don't know. Well, let's just finish this, and I got to recut the new back, and then we'll get on that. The mind can't stop. Dude. What are you doing? This whole episode is about perfection paralysis, and you're about to fall into the trap of perfection paralysis. You can explore those things on further iterations of the lamp. Just finish this lamp. Okay, you got me. I was indeed falling into the trap of perfection paralysis this morning, but we're moving on. We're moving on from that. We're going to stick with the sides that we know work. They look really good. Denise cut some test acrylic for me. I'm excited about the whole thing, and I have the replacement back in here, and we're about to cut it right now. I am really, really excited about getting this thing all pieced together. You can do a lot of small stuff with the Shaper Origin too. It's fun to add little details like signatures and dates. It's just an incredible tool. I know that there's a lot that I can do with it that I haven't even unlocked yet, but we're not going to dwell on that because I will get paralyzed by my quest for perfection again. Okay, we got the pieces all done, and the last step I want to do is on these super intricate side panels that I did. I want to inset the acrylic into the back, so I'm going to carve out little pockets that the acrylic will set into. This might be a crazy step to take, but I think overall it'll make it look a lot more polished and just make it look nicer. So that is the last job for the shaper, and then it is time to stick all these bits together. The pockets cut out perfectly for the acrylic pieces, and Denise cut me a test acrylic piece to put in there, and look at this, it fits perfect. Okay, everybody, the cutting is done, and we have our final parts. We've got the back, the sides, the face, the forehead, the nose, and the other side. And the great news is I can dry fit them all together, and they seem to just fit together perfectly. Oh, I am so excited to be at this stage. So as you know, it is sanded. The pieces seem to fit together well. All I've got to do now is stick them together permanently. I think I'm going to use these little wooden dominoes and my domino tool to pin these all together. It should be rock solid. I just do not want to mess up drilling the holes to put these things in because obviously I've only got one shot at it. Oh, I'm just so happy with it. It's going to be, oh, do I dare stand it up? I think we're gonna dare. Oh, it's just so big. Oh, it's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so cool. Alrighty, it is the next morning and I have poured slip, which means I've got like an hour and 20 minutes to work on the lamp while the slip dwells. Now, We put a lot of time into making that lamp, and I do not want to mess it up by putting these little pegs in to the wrong spots when I stick it together. So I'm doing some practice cuts, and I've done a series of practice cuts. The thing that's tricky is on the lamp, I want the edges to be inset by 1 centimeter. So I have to make sure that I set the tool up properly. So I've done a bunch of test cuts. I started off and it was too far out. So I did another cut over here, which was too close. And then I finally got one that works correctly. So I wrote down everything so that I don't mess it up. I still might mess it up. This is scary. This is that moment. It's even like when you're working on ceramics and you get so far onto a piece that if you make a mistake now, it's like, oh, I lost everything. So I hope that I don't make a mistake. But I do still want to get it all put together, even though I'm afraid of making a mistake. It's a dilemma. All right, my alarm just went off. Time is up. I got to go back and finish casting, but I did manage to get all of the top slots put in there. The little, I don't know if these are mortises or tenons. I always forget, but you can see I've got all the little top slots in there. So now I've just got to cut the slots into the back and the face pieces. And then we're going to glue this thing together. I'm sure you've all heard the measure twice, cut once thing. Well, I'm measuring like 10 times before I cut because I am so worried about messing up a cut. There's just no turning back. We put a lot of time into these pieces, and the last thing I want to do is mess them up. That being said, I am about to mess one of these up, so buckle up because you're going to see me really make a big mistake. Okay, well, things were going really well, perhaps too well, and I was cutting the slots on this side, and then that happened. Oh, I forgot how deep I had cut the kind of like the under eye bags here for the face. And can you see that? The slot went right through. So super unfortunate. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just cut all the rest of the slots, put this together, cut the slots for this one. This one, of course, I'm going to double check to make sure that I'm okay, and it looks like I am. Get it all pieced together. If it all pieces together fine, I'm going to have to cut a whole new face. Oh, it happens. It happens. You know, I can't beat myself up over it, but it's unfortunate because we were so close. We were so close. Okay, so I got it together. It's definitely going to need to be clamped. Now, this is where I have to ask myself. There's obviously a big mistake in the eyes here. Is it a big mistake? Is this perfection paralysis? Am I going to hinder this by recutting this whole face? For me, it bothers me. I don't like seeing these pass-throughs here where the tenons are passing through that hole. So man, it's hard. I don't want to recut this entire face, but I also want this to be as good as it can be. And everything else is looking so good on this thing that I think I just got to recut that face. Yep, got to do it. Oh man, it looks really, I mean, look at that thing. It's super cool looking. It's super cool. Let's grab a light. Oh, it's fantastic. Can't wait to get the plastic in there. I mean, there's obviously still a lot I've got to do, but I'm happy with where we're going. I'm happy with where we're going. I cannot believe I made that mistake on the eyes. It's not a mistake. It's just I'm learning. I'm learning. All right, I'm going to recut the face. Did I jinx myself by saying that was the very last cut we had to make with the Shaper Origin? Maybe I did, but in the end, I was able to recut a new face. Fortunately, I have plenty of extra wood now after the very first mistake we made in the project, and the new face came out fantastic. And best of all, I was able to cut new slots, new mortises, if you will, and I didn't poke all the way through the board. Okay, I just knocked it back together, and look at that! No holes in the eyes. Well, I mean, it has the eye holes, but not extra bonus holes that we don't want to have. Very happy to see that it all fit together well. Now, what's next? I've got to glue it together. Before I do that, I'm going to put a couple little struts in the bottom that will be like a little shelf that I'm going to use to hold up the light bulb situation on the inside of the lamp. And man, I don't know if I'm going to film the gluing up. It's going to be a very stressful process, and it's something that I definitely don't want to mess up. So I suspect that when we come back, I will have it glued together, and it'll be time to start thinking about that light bulb. All right, I know I said I wouldn't film the gluing up because, well, I'm freaked out about it, but it's not fair to you. You are here to watch. I am here to share. Let's glue this up together. I'm using Tight Bond wood glue to hold the lamp together, and I have this little like silicone brush. It looks like a little like kitchen tenderizer brush that I am brushing a healthy dollop of glue onto every single domino before I put it into those little slots. And then I use this little soft mallet to tap the parts together when they're a little stubborn. Okay, as you can see, I did run and grab some clamps in a bit of a panic. Sorry I didn't get that on video, but it is buttoned up tight. I don't think this thing will ever come apart. I'm gonna leave it clamped overnight, give it a good 24 hours, and then yeah, this is permanently joined for sure. Whew, that was crazy. So what's next? Well, it's all about the light bulb from here on out. Well, nope, I'm telling you a lie. First, I've got to get a finish on this. I'm gonna use like a tung oil finish on this, but that's gonna depend on what we're doing in the studio because that is really stinky stuff. So I gotta do that kind of at the end of the day where I know no one's gonna be in the studio so we don't, give ourselves headaches from the fumes. So I have to do that, and then I also have to figure out how we're gonna mount this light bulb in there. I've got some ideas. It's gonna involve the laser cutter. Hopefully it works. I'm excited about playing with it. I've been building it in my head for a while now. Hopefully it works like I think it will. The next morning, I could not wait to get into the studio and see how the lamp looked. I had to get those clamps off of there and make sure the glue held. Okay, I am on the verge of putting the finishing coat of tung oil onto the lamp. But before I do that, I want to take a measurement of the inside space so I can figure out how big of a plate to put in here for the light bulb. And the other thing I want to do is address kind of the mouth opening. Holding the light bulb in there, I realized you can really see the light bulb a lot through the mouth. So I want to put a little thin sheet of wood in there, stepped back a little bit from the opening of the mouth so that some light will leak in through there, but you won't see all the way through. I happen to have these. These are two super thin pieces of wood that I have had since 1999 when I bought them at Tokyo Hands. Hopefully you can see that, or maybe I'll cut away to a close-up. Yeah, these Tokyo Hands, it's now I guess called Hands. It is like a 5-story art and crafter supply store in Shibuya in Tokyo. It is unbelievable. And I just went through, that's when I bought my absolute favorite little sculpting tool that I use to sign all the mugs. I've been using that for like over 25 years now. And I bought a handful of wood, which I've hung on to forever. This looks like teak. This is, I have no idea what this is. Kashin? I don't know. I'll probably use this one because I think it'll look nice with that grain. It's got a lot of magic going on there. But so I'm gonna set that in there, and then we will do the Waterlox. And I wanna get that on today so that it is dry over the weekend. Since it's Friday, we're not gonna be here in the studio. Blah, blah, blah. I'm talking a lot. Am I procrastinating a little bit? It's scary. It's scary to move forward when you put so much time into a piece. But I'm not going to let this fear of messing up, this perfection paralysis, slow me down. I'm gonna keep going. So let's cut this up and put it in the mouth. I used super glue to tack the little wooden backer into the mouth area, and then I just moved on to putting all the tung oil onto the piece. I'm using this stuff called Waterlox. Like I said earlier, it is very stinky. If you're ever going to use this, make sure that you wear the proper respirator and don't breathe those fumes because they are awful. In the end, I did 2 coats of Waterlox. In between coats, I used steel wool to kind of knock things down, and it just has a fantastic fantastic finish. I love Waterlox. I want to try some other stuff in the future, but I am a big fan of this product. Now, once that was done, it was time for some laser action. Denise was kind enough to cut a bunch of insert pieces for us to put into the lamp. I did 2 different colors, this beautiful kind of straw yellow and a beautiful vivid red, and these are both a nice matte frosted acrylic so that they will diffuse the light beautifully. So overall, I should say with this lamp, I am definitely going for kind of a retro vibe, if you will. You know, it's a look that I remember fondly growing up in Hawaii. We used to go to the Big Island often, or AKA Hawaii Island, and there was a lodge there. Well, it's in the national park, Volcanoes National Park. It's called the Volcano House, and it's the hotel that you can stay in up there. And it was very dark, I mean, I first went there as a kid in the 70s, so the decor back then was definitely early 60s decor, and it hadn't changed much. And I remember it being lots of wood paneling, lots of dark, and then lots of volcano colors of kind of an orange and kind of a red, just that nice like magma look. So that is what I want to bring into this lamp. I want this lamp to be moody and not, this isn't a lamp that you're going to read a book with. This is more of a lamp that's just going to set a mood and a feeling and an ambiance of just kind of a glowing magma in the corner. It's just meant to just a little bit of an accent light, a little bit of theme. It's definitely not something to read a book by. I mixed up the 2 colors so that they alternate on each side, and they're going to be kind of opposites of each other. And once I had them all laid out carefully and I made sure I had the order correct, I painstakingly glued them all into the lamp. And this was really tricky because it is tiny inside of this lamp, and it was really hard to see in there. You can see I even use a flashlight to help me. I'm constantly thinking about this project while I'm working on it, even when I'm not in the studio, and on a Sunday long run, it dawned on me that I would not be able to put the light bulb into the socket of this lamp because the opening at the top of the lamp is too small to let your hand in and out. So I tried to figure out a workaround for this problem, and it took me a whole Sunday of running, but I think that I got an idea that works, and Denise was kind enough to cut out my prototype on the laser. So this is the solution that I came up with, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of proud of this one, and it is this clear base that is going to sit underneath the lamp. And what this does, it allows the light bulb to pass through, so you can put the light bulb onto the power cord here, you can pass it through, and then it like keys in, you can rotate it, and it locks in position right there, so it'll stay inside of the lamp. And then if you have to change the light bulb, you just rotate it. You can pull the whole thing out, swap out the light bulb. I don't know if I'm gonna use this. This is a flame lamp. I don't know if I'm gonna use a flame lamp or just a standard bright light bulb. I don't know what's gonna look best, but the nice thing is we can change it out now that I've got this base figured out. And I also did it out of this clear acrylic so that we could get some pass-through light, and we'll have light spilling out onto the tabletop, whatever this lamp is sitting on top of. Kind of proud of this one, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes you get a great idea. This is why I love Sunday long runs. I put the acrylic light bulb mounting fixture in with hot glue because it's a somewhat permanent glue. If anyone ever really needs to get into this lamp to do any repair or maintenance or anything like that, you can usually pry out something glued in with hot glue if you just are careful and you put some time into doing it without damaging anything. It's much less permanent than super glue or other wood glues. It's happening. It's a lamp. Oh man. Oh, it's so good. Now there is a lot of light in here, so you're not really getting a super powerful lamp effect. All right, it just dawned on me that I have a second half of the studio that has no windows on it. Well, we've got like a blackout curtain. So I'm gonna turn off the lights in here and we'll get a much better idea of what the light bulbs look like. I'll be right back with the lamp. Okay, so here we go. Standard light bulb, lights out. Super, super nice. I love it. I love it very much, but I wouldn't be a proper scientist if we didn't look at both options. So let's take this lamp out. All right. Light number 2. Look at that. Very atmospheric. So let me know in the comments which light bulb you prefer, a standard light bulb or a super cool flickering fire light bulb. Not that I have tipped my preference at all in that description, but I'm curious what you think, which one you think looks better. All right, it is Tuesday and look what came in the mail. That's right, I've got a little thumb switch that I'm going to put on the cord. It drives me nuts when you have a lamp that doesn't have a switch that's easy to access. I don't want you to have to turn this on and off by plugging it and unplugging it. So I'm gonna put this right here at the base. And before I do that, I'm going to carefully watch the tutorial on how they suggest putting this together, and then I'm going to re-watch it before I cut this fancy braided wire because I don't want to ruin it. So I'm in the home stretch on this project, and this is usually where I run into a big brick wall. And in this case, the brick wall is this braided wire. I thought this was going to take me all of 5 minutes to do, but this ended up taking hours. Okay, well, it appears that the fancy-dancy wire stripper tool that I used, not only did it cut through the cord, the outside cord jacket like I wanted to, it actually cut all the way through to the wire. So we are going to have to cut this wire here, wire this into the light bulb, and then put the switch down there. Whoops. It's okay though, I have plenty of cord. We do not need like 12 feet of cord, so whoops. Oh, it's a learning process. Yeah, okay. Okay, I haven't been filming for the past 30 minutes or so of total panic when I realized that this beautiful little end lamp accessory cord thing that I put on here from the Colored Cord Company is permanent. You cannot disassemble it once it is assembled, so I was freaking out because I had already cut the wire. At any rate, I got the switch on there. It hopefully works. Oh, that was stressful, but I think we're going to be okay. Haha! Okay. We're okay. We're okay. Oh, I did not need that last minute panic on this project, let me tell you. So relieved. So here we are, the final finished lamp. I have just been editing this episode of Tiki Technical Tuesday, and it's interesting for me to see how many times I talk about how afraid I am that I'm going to mess up, how afraid I am to move to the next step, how many times I've had to face that perfection paralysis. Did I end up messing up? I did. I messed up a ton of times on this project because I tried a bunch of new things. And guess what? It turned out just fine. I am ecstatic with the way the lamp looks. I hope that this inspires you to overcome any perfection paralysis that you are dealing with yourself as a maker on your own projects. What's next for the lamp? Well, I'm going to put it in a box and send it to San Diego for the Tiki Oasis Lamp Show. I do plan on making more of those, so be sure to follow me on social media to see what new lamps take shape in the studio. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and I will put a couple of links here to other non-Tiki Mug videos if you've enjoyed this non-Tiki Mug video. And I will see you on the next episode of Tiki Technical Tuesday.